Hey there, church. We're about to embark on the season of Lent. If you haven't heard yet, our Lent with CPC this year is going to be themed around Liturgy of the Ordinary. This is the title of a book written by Tish Harrison Warren. And what the book does is kind of walk us through our ordinary day, where we do regular things like eat meals and stuff goes wrong, like we might lose our keys. We sit in traffic, we check email, we have squabbles with our family, we wake up, we go to sleep, we savor a cup of tea. For me, a part of my liturgy, obviously, if you watch these e-update videos, is to walk with Strider. And, these walks with Strider are partly necessity. He's a Malamute, he needs exercise, and there is no fenced-in yard where we can just let him loose. And, he has to go to the bathroom and stuff, and so I walk him. One day someone asked me, so how much do you walk your dog? And so someone that sees me around the church and sees me walking on 306 with Strider. And here's the way it usually goes. I will walk him in the morning after I drop the boys off at school. A lot of the time that happens at one of our county parks. And then, Strider just kind of chills out while I do some morning work, either at the church or at home. A lot of days, like right now, it's the middle of the day. I'm giving him just a brief little walk, kind of a jaunt outside before I put him in his crate. And he's there for a number of hours while I'm at the church, or if I'm going out and making visits or picking boys up or something. Then I usually walk him right before dinner. And I'll be out maybe for an evening meeting or for whatever after that. And then I walk him at bedtime, which seems like a lot of dog walking, and some people would not abide that, but I kind of like hanging out with Strider. He has a different pace, so like right now when I'm thinking about what I need to do next in my day, Strider just kind of hangs out and he sniffs what's happening in the ground. It must smell differently at different times of the year. He'll find the snow piles that are remaining and plunk himself down on the snow pile when I think it's about time for us to move along and for me to get to the next thing. Strider reminds me that I don't need to operate by the rhythms of production and activity and just trying to maximize the efficiency of my work and all these ways that the world tells us that we need to live. What's happened with my walks with Strider is really that they've become prayer times where I have access to some of the thoughts and feelings I've had at that point in the day. You can see between the walks that we've taken. I pray for you during my walks with Strider. Sometimes I'll put earphones in, and with an app I'll pray with psalms and scripture with the larger church. And so really, these walks are partly born of necessity, but they're also bound to how God is at work in my day and at work in the world. And they've really become, I think, kind of a spiritual necessity for me. If here Strider has found a patch of ice. It's one of the patches of ice remaining, and he'll just kind of chill there while I finish my video, which will be just fine with him. And when it's time for me to go, he'll be ready just to stay. And the grace of this is that the practice of walking has reminded me that indeed Jesus walked probably a lot slower and expected that he would get places a lot less quickly than I do, certainly in a car. That Jesus was not concerned about, productivity and maximizing his time. Jesus, above all, was concerned about presence with God, presence with people, maybe being present to himself and attending to when fear was cropping up and what it was that he needed to pray out of his day to God. Jesus noticed birds and flowers and told parables about the natural world, which means that Jesus must have been really alert to what was going on in the world around him. Maybe he had a posture a lot more like Strider than I tend to on our walks. And so Liturgy of the Ordinary invites us to take our everyday lives and discover how the practices that we have that are just kind of routine can be a window into experiencing grace and knowing God and discovering what life with Jesus is like in just a regular practice life. So I encourage you as we begin Lent, and we're going to have some shortened worship services followed by small group time when we can process this, kind of unpack the theme and ask how it fits with our daily lives. I encourage you to engage this because it could be a window into what God's activity in your daily life is really like, and also might be a means by which we can become more and more transparent, more like windows through which God's light and love shine for the people around us and in the places we go. So we'll begin Lent on Ash Wednesday, this coming Wednesday, March 6th, and have our first Liturgy of the Ordinary Sunday and groups on the March 2nd is Ash Wednesday, and then March 6th will be our first Liturgy of the Ordinary groups. So let's keep on being the church, keeping pace with Jesus, loving God, sharing relationships, serving others from the heart of Christ.